that you've spent about, I don't know, about not quite $300,000 of that $670,000 so far this year, and you've spent about $70,000 of the utilities money through December. And I'm real disappointed, quite frankly, that we don't have any specific things to take a look at. That's what I'm looking for. If you want to know what I'm looking for, that's what I'm looking for. And I don't want you to misinterpret what I'm saying. I know that you are frustrated. I am frustrated too. But we can get through this together, because I have full faith and confidence that you can pull it off. You can give us the information and the suggestions that we need. Give us specific kinds of things,
Well,
and we'll move forward.
So are you suggesting he come back and say, I'm going to cut the tennis center by so much, or cut and close recreation centers for so many hours?
What I would like to see him do, and maybe that's it. If he needs to hire a full-time manager over there, and I know you do, that's going to cost me X amount of money. And to get X amount of money, I'm not going to fill this position over here in the tennis budget. I'm going to move that money over here. Until we can get to the point where we are doing some of these kinds of things, like the fundraising, like the programs, like the, whatever, to bring that budget up. I guess I don't know.
And I only ask that because most of Parks and Rec's money, will be in salaries and wages, and that's where they've cut over the years. And
do you have any unfilled positions?
And
and every little nickel counts. Every bit that we can put together. And I really hope that you don't take my comments the wrong way, because I am trying my best to support what you're doing, and to support our aquatic center, and to support our staff. And I really want to do what needs to be done. And I'm frustrated that at this point we're not there yet. We'll get there. But I'm just...
Well, we'll come back. We'll see what we've got.
Let's hear from some more counselors. Yeah. And, I think it's a good inquiry. I'm pretty sure we defunded all unfilled positions in either FY15 or FY16. I can't remember, but it was $1.34 million from general government. I think we completely defunded. So nobody's sitting around with just sort of, a couple positions that those are gone. But we can certainly look and see what else might be there. Yeah.
Maybe other kinds of things in the budget that we can move around at this point in time.
Yeah. And I think everybody, this whole meeting tonight, frankly, if it has a theme, I think it's just the frustration level of finally hitting the wall. I mean, that's it. We've been dealing with this for years and years and years, and living off of the general fund when we could and cutting where we could. We've been living by attrition for many, many years, and now we're up against the wall. And so that's the frustration you hear is we don't have the revenues coming in to support this city. And it's just the bottom line. Our revenues do not support this city. And so how are we going to start picking and choosing those priorities? And it's going to be a lower level of service, most probably. So it's the type of great leadership we need in really difficult times, James. And it's not going to be it's not going to be things you want to recommend. But in order to keep this facility up, something else is going to have to go. And I think that's what council's asking you. It's going to be hard for them to look at, frankly. But we're going to have a bunch of those in this budget session. Okay. All right, we've got Counselor Huff.
Quick question. On the upcoming swim tournament, how are we with that? We okay? As far as greeting all our guests coming in and
We're
having
doing good.
a successful tournament?
I'm glad you asked. We have our sports council head here, interim director. I'm going to call on Mary. Mary, can you come up and give us a brief update?
For the NAIA, I think we're on target to produce an outstanding event for the athletes that will be coming here. We've partnered with Parks and Recreation and many people that will be coming here to help us service this event. So we're on target.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we have, let's see, Mayor Pro Tem.
One of the things I think the committee needs to start working on immediately is getting the 501c3. I don't think that needs to be put off too much longer, because it can take up to 90 days or more to get it. And I think that needs to be your number one priority. Getting becoming a 501c3.
We've got Counselor Davis.
Well, and Mayor, you're right, but we're just going to have to come to grips with it, and you can't wait till the budget. I mean, we should be starting
Oh, yeah, no,
as
I
quick
agree
as
right
possible
now.
on
Yep.
these kind of things. For example, surplus in land. I mean, you can't wait another 3, 4, 5 months, so we're still in the same situation. Those may be challenges that we have to deal with. You may have to shut some like the counselor said, just shut some programs down. I can't sit here and tell you which ones, but you're going to have to go through and sort them out and figure it out. So either one or the other. But there's another thing, too, with the adult, not the youth. I've always stand firm with the youth. But the one thing this committee, I would like to ask if it's possible, instead of focusing on future dollars and future support, that it's going to take a while, like everybody said. That's true. But I think that's part of the component in what the task force needs to really study and keep heading in that direction. But if you need the money, you got to start thinking about quick revenue. And quick revenue comes from increased fees or increased costs for the services. I don't know what that is, but I would think that would be something that the committee needs to talk about, whether it's local or out of town. I noticed that the concessions have gone down. I noticed that the sales have gone down on, I think the numbers I saw in the last revenue report, I specifically saw that some of these numbers have gone down. I don't know what's going on, but there's revenue right there. And this council might have to come to grip that some of the funding we do on the side, that everybody tends to want to support the efforts, and we all have people coming to us and asking us, well, we just may have to say can't do it anymore, and shift it in the direction where it's needed. I will say, in this discussion, people need to, Madam Mayor, you've lived here in Midtown for how long? We've talked about the economic development of the retirement community, which that pool serves the retirement community. It's an amenity that attracts retirees and a service provided. But look at this area right here. Since these buildings and the programs have been developed, how much development money and remodeling or restructure and new buildings, one that bank right across the street, but how much economic development money has been generated. So you can't say that this amenity that we have as a pool is not serving our community and in its investment. But the main thing I wanted to say is whatever we do, we need to focus on that event, and we need to make sure that these people are happy and they feel good about our community and that they're not worried about struggles and all. We'll take care of the struggles. We'll figure that out. But, the focus really, that event, is just keep focusing on that event to make it worthwhile, and we'll get these people to come back and want to come back.
We have Counselor Mike Baker.
Thank you. And thank you for your work, Dr. Worsley, and the committee, too, as well. But I would like to ask if Holly and Becky, since they've been in the trenches there for a while, a lot longer than they should, if they have any suggestions or insights they would like to pass on. They may not want to bring them directly. They can give them to you, and you can say they're your insights, because I don't want them to be And I don't care what they are. You're not going to hurt. I'm a financial realist. If it takes, reduction of hours, I'm fine with that. If it takes a third party, I'm fine with that. I'm willing to put everything on the table right now because we have to. But since y'all have been there so long doing this, if you have come across anything that's eye-opening that we really need to look at, let Dr. Worsley know and let him bring it to us. Because you may have more insight than anybody at this point from the actual operational side, which is where we've got an issue. We need to get anything on the table, and we're going to have to look at it. Can't afford not to. Everybody around the table knows the answer is not going to be, well, just more funding from the city. We all know that's not going to happen. Now, you may rearrange funding in your own budget, but there's not going to be any more funding, than there's already there, and we all know that. That's not a secret. So the decisions, I know, are going to be difficult, but I'm willing to listen to anything, see if we can't, make it work.
Okay. Counselor Henderson.
Thank you, Mayor. Dr. Worsley, with reference to your report, did I hear you say that we're already having some maintenance issues, like with some of the rust and some of the fixtures and things?
That's correct.
How long has that thing been open? 3 years?
2.5 years.
3? 2.5? Okay,
August 2013.
Is that normal for an auditorium? I couldn't spell an auditorium.
When you have
before 3
chlorine,
years ago.
things
Yeah,
around
but
chlorine typically rust like that.
Yeah, but I was just going by the fact that I know on our leisure pools and the regional pools that we've got in, we just went through an appropriation of a pretty good amount of money, but those had been in place for quite a while. And I don't know, maybe it's because it's not enclosed. It just seems like 3 years replacing some of those things is a 3-year lifespan seems awful.
Well, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't have thought in the first year and a half or 2 years we'll be looking at major issues in the pump room and those sorts of things.
I'm not even going to ask you that. Y'all checked all that. But
Out of warranty.
Anyway, but I appreciate I appreciate what you do, and I know it's going to be difficult to do it. And to be clear, I never thought that this committee would get together and within 2 or 3 weeks bring us some solid solutions. It is a journey. But unfortunately, as we go on that journey, if the only way is to make ends meet is to have to reduce hours on a temporary basis, I mean, if that's the only alternative, that's where we're headed. I mean, we just listened to y'all were out there. We heard a report where we've got killer garbage trucks out there. So, we're forced to deal with what we have.
And I know that we've talked about, and I've heard a couple of you say that if it takes reducing hours, that you're good with that. And I know some of you feel strongly that you want 89 hours and don't touch it. And so we got to figure out, is it 89 hours and don't touch it and go find money from all these other places, or is it?
I don't think we can answer that until we see some of the options. I mean, we got $3 million. We spent about $3 million, I think, on the other pools in our aquatics.
Okay.
And I don't know if, and I'm not suggesting this, but I mean, maybe you come back and we shorten by 2 weeks.
Could be 60 or something. I got you.
Yeah, I'm just saying nothing. Going back to what Councilor Baker said, nothing's off the table. No, it's not our choice to do 45 hours unless it's our only choice.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. We have Counselor Davis.
I wanted to ask the committee because, when you look at hours, and you guys probably understand this, and Dr. Worsley, I don't, I'm just asking these guys, and you can comment as well. But when could you possibly wind up shooting yourself in your foot with how much business, how many users would you lose if you cut hours, which in turn you would lose revenue and memberships? I mean, really, is that an issue? That would be revenue that you would lose that you still have to make up. So, you understand the question? Has anybody thought about that?
Were you talking to Brian, or were you talking to me?
Well, maybe that's something to discuss, but I would like to ask that question if we're talking about hours here. And
Wait, I'll let you come up. I think it's a catch-22, to be honest with
well,
you.
I was just looking from the community, but go ahead, Dr. Worsley.
It's a catch-22. You're going to, if you cut hours and increase services, perhaps there's opportunity to actually gain more revenue because you're offering more to the community, but it might be less in hours, excuse me. You offer more hours and you can't afford to offer services, so you're not going to increase your revenue. So that's why I say it's a catch-22.
Well, I was thinking about on the user side. The equation is the users. So, are you going to lose a lot of users on the weekend or people in the mornings? Because if you're cutting hours, you're going to lose some people. I just don't know how many.
When we gave you the report the last time, we showed you where we cut hours based on the less likely of people utilizing the early part of the day. The users that we kept the hours for were used for the majority time. In the evenings were the prime times.
Well, maybe that's the question. If you cut the hours, could you cram pack all these users? Would they all use that block of hours, or would they just find another way to meet their needs? I don't know.
Okay.
That's what you're saying, right, Dr. Worsley?
I can't give you a definitive answer tonight. I mean, you are going to have some people that are going to, if you cut hours, you are going to have this. It's going to affect someone.
Well, can somebody from maybe the community, from your perspective, how you see, you talk to a lot of these people that use it. Do you think they would leave?
Well, yeah. So when I first looked at this, I thought some of the same things, and so I guess we all represent different constituents, as far as the task force. So when I first looked at it, I thought the area that I wanted to represent was, don't want to cut the hours in the morning, because the few times I swim, that's typically when I swim, but certainly my children, they swim in the morning, so I want to make sure it was open for them. But then hearing from the other people, other voices who come to the meetings of the task force, you find out that there are perhaps senior citizens that utilize the hours from 9 to 12, and that was an empty period. For me, that was an empty period, but for them, those are the hours that they rely upon. Sundays are another, a day. We thought, well, perhaps you could just cut Sunday. Well, again, there are some people who travel during the week, and that's one of the days they look forward to coming back. So I think it's all representative of who wants to use the pool, but we don't have the data, the data analysis that I think could be conducted to see. So if you did close the pool on Sundays, what % of users would vacate and you would lose that revenue? And I think, Councilor Davis, that's what you're requesting.
Yes,
we don't have those kinds of numbers yet, but we could take that back from a task force and look to see if we could try to identify, put some data behind those types of solutions and equations.
Well, and that's a question I have, because then you'd have to find more revenue to fill that gap.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, thank you.
All right, we have Councilor Thomas.
And, Mr. City Manager, what I envisioned was that Dr. Worsley and his Cracker Jack staff, and I mean that sincerely, would take a look and say, this is how much money we can get together from whatever sources, and with that kind of money, we can keep the aquatic center open X number of hours. And it may be, and with X number of hours, here's the schedule we recommend because of what Councilor Davis is saying. We have more people in the morning and not so many on Sunday afternoon, or whatever that is. But to start with your financial abilities, and then move from there of, this is how we're going to spend this money. This is how we're recommending. And then when it comes to us, we as counselors will then have to make the decision, no, don't cut that, outdoor pool 2 weeks, cut another hour or whatever. That's our decision. But your responsibility is to bring us as much information as you can with suggestions of how we're going to get there.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We've got Councilor Barnes.
Just what was suggested. I think that's good. You could, Holly and
Becky.
Becky, thank you. tired, you know, we'd be able to give you that data. And that, I didn't think about something like that would be an excellent idea. And as far as the task force is concerned, remember one of the things that we spoke about, we know the various constituencies involved have their druthers. But right now, we're trying to just keep as many hours as we can for the pool open. So from the task force perspective, and that was touched at the first meeting where I was at, when Dr. Worsley said, listen, there's no triathletes, there's no hurricanes, we're all trying to keep the hours going. So from that standpoint, for the chair, if you can touch base with those various task members and let them know exactly what this situation is, and it's crunch time, and working from that end, I think we can come up with something.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you all.
Madam Mayor and Council, this is not a presentation from the Deputy City Manager. She's got some books for you, and she just want to tell you when the auditors are going to come.
Good evening. I obviously don't want to go through this report tonight, but this is the June 30, 2015 comprehensive annual financial report. Typically, the auditor comes and gives an overview of the audit. We had a scheduling conflict, so he wasn't able to be here tonight, although I'm sure if I told him at 11 p.m., he probably was available then. But we're going to have him back at the next council meeting to go through his report. But we want to go ahead and get the report out onto the website, and we don't do that until we've actually provided the report to council. So we'll have the auditor back at the next council meeting.
All right. And Madam Mayor, that concludes my agenda.
All right.
Sorry to keep you guys
Let's
so
see.
late.
That's Councilor Thomas.
No, we'll
Council-
go next time.
Mr. City Manager, if you would, yesterday I was going down Veterans Parkway. Well, let me stop that. First of all, I want to thank you and your staff for getting out the word on the road closures at Veterans and Double Churches and at Bradley Park. I saw several things that mentioned that. So we had talked about that. Yesterday I was driving north on Veterans to make that left at Double Churches. And you know there's a traffic light on Double Churches at Fortson Road. And as people were making that left, there were about 4 cars that could make that turn until they were stopped at that traffic light. So those cars then backed up into Veterans Parkway. Would you just have our traffic folks take a look at that and make sure that that light is situated such that they can go on through and not block that Veterans Parkway intersection? The left turn lane was backed up a good bit, but probably not any more than it was before that was closed. That's always a backup there on Veterans Parkway turning left. So if you just ask our folks to take a look at that. Thank you.
All right. We have Councilor Davis.
Mr. City Manager, I just want to take the moment to thank our deputy city managers and yourself. Just thank you so much for responding to our requests when citizens call us and we call you, and whether it's email or text photo or whatever. I just want to say, I feel like saying thank you. But the other thing is, we talked earlier about this situation with that I got just a little upset, but that's okay. That's okay. It's all good. It's all good. But could you maybe have somebody outline me the bid, how someone with a business would go about having get their name on a list, D list, A list, for bids or whatever, whether it's what we talked about earlier or whatever, so I can, and if they'll bullet point that to me, or either the state procurement list that we talked about.
Yeah.
If you could give that to me and let me forward it to these people, and just so they can they can do what they need to do. Okay?
And Deputy City Manager Hodge will get that to you. But for those listening tonight, if they, she'll get you more detail, but if they go to columbusga.org and go over to the right side of the web page and go down just a short bit, they'll see vendor registration.
Thank you.
Just columbusga.org, go to the right side of the web page and scroll down just a little bit, and it'll be flashing yellow, vendor registration.
Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you. All right, I believe we are ready for our clerk. Madam Clerk?
Madam Mayor and Council, on the clerk's agenda, we have a few items of information. One is correspondence from personnel technician advising that one of our personnel review board members has passed away, Mr. Ron Mahoney. Council will need to fill that seat. And we received a copy of the fiscal year 2015 Affirmative Action Annual Report for Council's information. And also, we received a Certificate of Need application by the Columbus Diagnostic Imaging Center for a new MRI scanner. Minutes of various boards.
Got a motion that the minutes be received. There's a second as well. All those in favor, please state aye.
On a board appointments,
We've got a motion and second that Linda Parker be renominated to the Board of Elections and Registration. All those in favor, please state aye. That's a renomination of Kel Jackson. Royster Close. Okay. Did you get that, Tiny?
yes.
Okay. It was a request by the Mayor Pro Tem that they nominate all eligible members who are eligible to continue service and would like to continue service for the Civic Center Advisory Board. So it's like Senate districts, 15 and 29.
Yes. These are council district appointments.
What'd you say, Madam Clerk?
Yes, they are council district appointments.
They are or they are not?
They are.
They are. They are council districts.
Right, and I apologize, we did not list out the district. Okay. Okay. Because these are district appointments, we can go ahead and confirm those that you're nominating tonight.
Okay, we've got Councilor Huff nominating Royster Coles, all those in favor, please state aye. We've got the Mayor Pro Tem renominating Stan Stovall. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, yes, some move for confirmation. And is there a second? All right, all those in favor, please state aye.
Are there? We'll bring the others back next week, outlined with the district. On the Board of Zoning Appeals.
We have to bring that back,
We'll
do we,
bring this
Tanya?
back at our next meeting for confirmation. On our Circle Commission, the mayor is renominating Ms. Salamonica as well as Ms. Hall. They can be confirmed.
Got a motion and second for confirmation. All those in favor, please state aye.
We still have these other 3 seats that we'll need a nominee for.
I think you've got Maddie Hall has been renominated. It shows on my screen anyway.
Right, those 2 have been confirmed, Ms.
Okay.
Salamonica and Ms. Maddie Hall.
Was that
was
a
a
motion for
motion.
2? Okay, yeah, all right, thank you.
On the Community Development Advisory Council, we've outlined these seats that will be expiring at the end of March. We've indicated the individuals who are interested in serving again. Okay. No, they are not.
I don't even know where we are. Madam Clerk, where are we?
We are on the Community Development Advisory Council.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Allen has nominated all those who are eligible. Counselor Huff is nominating. Okay, Jennifer. And Counselor Barnes is nominating Mr. Walter Lewis for for Ms. Carla Thomas.
Carla Thomas. Yeah, and Madam Clerk, just make sure that that's the right Senate district. I'm assuming that that Senate district designation is purposeful on this one. And if it is, it would matter where they reside. Oh, is it?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay.
On our Crime Prevention Board, Ms. Lorraine Moore has been renominated as well.
Okay, that's a motion for approval of Lorraine Moore, Captain Gordon Griswold, and Melvin Blackwell, a second from Councilor Huff. All those in favor, please state aye. Jed, what was that last name? Jed.
So you're nominating him for Miss Nancy Wren's seat?
Yes.
Are there any others? Personnel Review Board, as I indicated, Mr. Ron Mahoney has passed away. Council will need to nominate someone for this seat. Excuse me. Planning Advisory Commission, we've outlined the seats that will be vacant at the end of March, indicated Mr. Etheridge, Mr. Kenner, and Ms. Mason are both eligible to serve again, would like to.
Okay, that's a, can that be a motion second vote on? No,
We will
okay.
bring this back at our next meeting. Recreation Advisory Board, I've outlined the district seats that are vacant, District 7, 8, and also the Muskogee County School District's representative. On the Taxi Cab Commission, Mr. Billy Kraft, we're still working, trying to get a replacement. On the Tree Board, Mr. William Consoletti has been renominated. He can be confirmed.
We got a motion and second for confirmation. All those in favor, please state aye.
Still need a nominee for Mr. Coakley as well as Mr. Smith, and we're waiting to hear back from Uptown Columbus for Mr. Green's seat on Uptown Facade. That's all I have.
All right. Yes.
Yes, I believe they were. Yeah, those who are eligible, yes, they have been.
All right. At 11:03, we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All right. Wait, we've got a nomination. What? One more time, Madam Clerk. I'm sorry. Crime Prevention Board.
Nominate Gladys Ford.
Gladys Ford. All right, does that come back? That comes
It
back.
does.
All right, we have a motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor, please state aye. Great, thank you. We're adjourned. See you all at the next meeting.